This is so weird. It's our first time doing a reaction together.
I know, it might be a couple of issues along the way, but we'll see.
It may be a disaster, but sure, we'll give it a go and see how it goes. So, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Dan and Stephen here from the channel.
MC Entertainment TV.
I'm always so close to saying Irish React. It just rolls off the tongue so much better.
But Irish React is now dead
and buried in the backyard, in Stephen's backyard.
Back garden.
This week's episode, we're going to do some Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
We got a few comments about doing some Ricky Gervais, and you're a massive fan of Ricky Gervais, aren't you?
I love Ricky Gervais and I love Karl Pilkington. I think he's absolutely hilarious. You're kind of just recently starting to getting into this show and stuff. Have you ever watched Idiot Abroad or anything?
Yeah, what's pissed off at there? I love Ricky Gervais. I love when he's on chat shows. He's doing the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy him, but it's something about his actual stand-up I find really awkward, but I'm sure that's his whole style. I've recently just got into Afterlife, which is fucking amazing. I'm only 5 or 6 episodes in, and I'm literally blown away by it. But in terms of his actual stand-up, I don't find him that funny, but I do like him, if that makes sense.
I think he's probably my favourite comedian.
Yeah.
Overall, there hasn't been anything he's done that... Well, Derek I wasn't the biggest fan of that show. I thought it was okay, but Extras in The Office are golden for me.
Oh, they are, yeah.
And then obviously Afterlife, the first season of that was great. He done a couple of films and stuff that I wasn't overly sort of in love with, but I think he's class. I think he's a really, really funny guy, and him and Karl together, especially with Stephen Merchant on this show, it was genius. Do you know sort of this used to be an actual radio show back in the day?
I heard that. It was one of the first podcasts ever, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I remember people talking about it. I've just never sat down and listened. I've watched clips before. I've watched clips, but I haven't really sat down and watched many episodes of this year. But I've only heard good things about it.
Basically, they had the radio show on XFM, and it had Ricky Gervais, and I think Ricky was still doing. I think he was starting Extras, so he was still early on in his career, and he was doing it with Stephen Merchant, and then Karl was a producer of the show.
Really?
And then that's what he was.
I always thought Karl was just a friend in the background.
No, he was a producer of the show. That's what he done, right? I think it was a producer, something like that. And then they had every so often they would have a conversation with him, and they just kept saying, "We need to put this guy on air. I've never met anyone like him because he's mad." And if you go back on YouTube, I think some of the stuff's on YouTube. The early XFM full episodes are there, and it just shows, because there's always been this thing if people think that Karl's acting, but he's not, because if you actually listen to him 10-15 years ago, he's just the same. It's just how he is. It's just the way he is, and I think he's so innocent or something. There's just something really funny about him.
Yeah, because even when you see him on TV shows now, because he's doing his own thing away from Ricky Gervais, he's still the exact same. If he's putting this character on, I think it would have shown now over the last 10 years. You can tell he's obviously a bit more richer now. He's a bit more clued in, so he has changed, but he's still the same guy. He just says what he thinks, and sometimes he comes across true though. It makes sense to me. I'm like, that actually makes sense, and they're all laughing at him.
What worries me as well, sometimes you can kind of you can say something so stupid, and then you actually think it's such a simple thing that he says. You go, do you know what? He might be right.
Yeah, 100%. Even Idiot Abroad, when he's there's one episode where he's going to somewhere in Asia, this big massive monument, and say, you can stay in here tonight. And he's like, why I want to stay in there for? It's because the view's shite, because the view is just of these rocks. You're best sitting over there in the cave, not wee hole over there. He's like, why? Because your view is of this monument. Yeah. And it made so much sense. I'm like, and he did it. He was like, yeah, I'm staying here, so much nicer. I'm like,
whenever he went to see the pyramids in Egypt, and there was all mess and litter everywhere, and he held up a pamphlet of the pyramids, and then he took it back down. He was like, doesn't really look like it, does it? You know what I mean? Because there was all dirty nappies and stuff lying all over it. He was
the world. How do you spend that final day? So for instance, I've always wanted to smash up a bar. Do you know what I mean? It's strange, but I've always wanted the exhilaration of just smashing all those bottles, like you see in a film.
Would you enjoy it as much knowing that you're going to die in 8 hours?
I don't know, I suppose it's the sense of abandon, I mean, maybe I'd murder a person. I don't know, but I think I'd probably go mental. Because I've always been a very reserved person, I've never got into a fight, never caused a rumpus.
Yeah, but that's a worrying thought, because we don't have to have the end of the world for it to be the end of your world, because a lot of people know that they're terminally ill, so they don't go around smashing up bars and killing people.
But I suppose I know there'll be no repercussions ultimately, because
They're
the
gonna die
next day
anyway.
everyone's gone, so
Yeah,
there's not going to be mourning families.
But then how dare you deprive that person of his last 8 hours or 10 hours of life?
I don't care, because it's the last day on Earth.
What would you do?
I've always wanted to kick a duck up the arse. A dog has got human eyes. If a jellyfish had a pair of eyes like ours, I probably wouldn't worry about him that much. But like I said to you, it's that way that they haven't got eyes, they're floating about. I can handle some fish. They look like, because they've got eyes, you can make eye-to-eye contact. They look like us. A jellyfish, what you're looking at, is a snidey thing, like I've said to you. You can see a lot in eyes. You know what I mean? They say, don't trust him, why? It's his eyes. Jellyfish haven't even got any, and I don't trust them. Design and everything, and if you lined everything up, say if I'd come from another planet, and everything was lined up in a row, and they said, right, we're going to give you a crash course in what's knocking about on this planet. And you go, right, go on then. And you go, this is man, here's a woman, here's a dog, here's a cat, here's an octopus, I go, hang on a minute, what is this? So I said, right, I'm seeing...
Oh my god, he's so funny. Like, his brain just works in such a different way. Like, he's thinking about a jellyfish and an octopus, and he's thinking how weird they look, and he's thinking that from the mindset of, imagine I came to this planet for the first time and you showed me what these were. If I seen a man or a woman, I would think fair enough. Even if I seen a dog, I'd think fair enough. But if I seen an octopus, I'd be like, what the fuck is that?
Here, hold on a minute.
Back
no, makes these really funny as well. It's the wee animations, you know. His wee face is sitting there, wee bald man just sitting in the chair. No emotion, like he's just fucking class.
Clive Warren.
Who the fuck's Clive Warren? Who's Clive Warren?
The one who was in Closer.
Clive Owen.
Clive Owen.
Do they look at you like a fucking idiot?
So they all started trying to figure out, who's this Clive Warren we've not heard about? He must be amazing. He's on
Clive Warren. Get me Clive Warren on the phone.
Get me Clive Warren.
And I said Rebecca De Mornay, right?
What? Oh, where did that come from? She hasn't been in a film for 15 years.
Clive Warren and Rebecca De Mornay. They thought he was a genius. They'd never thought of putting Clive Warren with Rebecca De Mornay.
But hang on a minute, you can have any film star. This is your fantasy casting, and you choose a bloke that doesn't exist and a woman who hasn't been on TV or in a film for 10 years.
He said, what you've got to do when you go to sleep, focus on your toe. Right?
Okay.
He said, and just think about nothing else. I said,
He's a witch. So he's got a toad under the bed.
no, he just said, focus on the toe and see how you go on and what have you. Next time you come in, let me know. Anyway, I gave this a go, focusing on the toe.
So what does this mean? You mean you sat in bed staring at your toes?
No, this is it. He said, like, lie down,
Visualising
shut
it.
your eyes and sort of look at it, sort of thing. So I was lying there. It just wasn't working because
Oh, Karl, this isn't medicine.
I was,
You
even though
were
the
thinking of a
eyes...
finger.
Well, no,
He was thinking of someone else's toe.
Yeah.
Next day,
doesn't
someone
work.
called up and said, "Oh, my toe's better."
Yeah.
no, the problem was I was still using my eyes even though I had them shut.
Just when I think he could never come up with something stupid, he pulls that one out of the bag.
Right. Yeah. Jake has emailed in. He says, Karl, if you could spend a day with an exact replica of you, okay, so somehow they've cloned you, Karl, and you've got him for one day, what would you do with this? What would you make him do? What conversation would you have with him? What would you do? Is there anything you could, how would you utilise him for one day?
Well, they'd both say, "I'm not bothered," and that'd be the end of conversation.
What would do me head in is, does he think the same way, look the same way,
Exactly
dress
the same.
Yeah.
How would I know which one I was?
That's amazing. That's incredible. That is the most stupid thing ever said by a human being. Can we get the Guinness Book of Records on this? Has anyone anywhere in the world said anything more stupid than how would I know which one was me?
But think about it. This other person's going, all right, thanks for meeting up and that. And I go, hang on a minute. Oh, you came to me. And then Suzanne would come home and she wouldn't know the difference. And then suddenly you'd start doubting yourself. And you go, should I be leaving? Or, so how do I know if I am leaving if he knows what I know?
But you know who you are because you're experiencing
But he'd
it.
be saying that because he'd say, yeah, it's a bit weird.
Okay,
So funny.
when he first said that, I was like, okay, that does make sense. But then he explained it, I'm like, oh yeah. you know.
He's basically said, like, you know, what if he went and done something? Say he went and robbed a bank or whatever, and then it came back and the police were looking at us, going, who robbed the bank? And he would go, it wasn't me, it was you. And then he would think to himself, was that me? He's like, how do I know which one I am?
Yeah.
Like, am I responsible for his actions? This is what I think he means.
Yeah.
I don't think he genuine. I think he knows who he is. But
Yes,
I think
yes.
What he's the point he's trying to get across is, if he does something, he can convince me that I done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
he's so
I think
funny.
that's why he's so funny, because the initial comment is so dumb. Like everything he says is quite dumb. Is an initial response, but then he actually explains it out. You're like, okay, I can see how you got there. I think that's what I really like about hearing Karl Pilkington talk. I'm like, oh my god, people call him so dumb, but when he explains it out, I get what he means. Am I that dumb? Did you? I didn't. I found out recently that they don't really talk anymore.
I don't know if they don't. I don't know what the crack is. I don't think they fell out or anything.
Yeah, I think just kind of obviously went their own ways and stuff. Because Karl Pilkington retired, didn't he? But obviously he came back, and obviously he's doing his own show in Sky One now, so he's doing quite well.
Yeah.
But like, so he kind of retired because obviously he probably made so much money off like Idiot Abroad though. So he's like, fuck, I made so much money just doing a show than I would have ever made. Why am I still working? And he said like, I was so bored.
Yeah. I know. I don't know what the crack is. Like, if they're, I still think they're friends and stuff. But I mean,
Just don't
the
work
likes of
together.
Stephen Merchant is so busy.
Yeah.
Like he's directing films, he's acting in movies, he's in so many different things.
He's in Jojo
So, like,
Rabbit, and he's hilarious in that as well.
Yeah, so it's like, I'd imagine it's quite hard. But Ricky Gervais always gets asked, would he ever go back and do another podcast? And he always says no with like Karl, because it's there, you know, it's done. Like it's all it's easy. That's what's one thing I actually really like about Ricky Gervais is, even like The Office, he only done 2 seasons. Like he could have done 5 seasons and killed that show, but he was like 2 seasons, golden, it's done. Same extras, it's done, and that's it.
And that's why I think I honestly do think Ricky Gervais is a genius, even though I'm not a big fan of his stand-up. But he is a genius because like he's able to come up with these ideas. Like as you said there about like The Office, most people and most like even company like TV production would like, let's keep making this. This is golden. Ricky Gervais is like, no, I know I have enough information in my brain and ideas that I can make another show just as big. And actually somehow made The Office even bigger when he went to America and did it. And now after it's blown up, like even this podcast, like he's like one of the first ones to start he didn't invent podcasting, but he's fucking one of the pioneers. He invented An Idiot Abroad, Life's Too Short. You know, he's like extras, like Jesus Christ, this guy's banging them out, and he's still so humble about it, not, and he's like he'll do Afterlife by one more season and then cut it, and it's amazing, and he'll just make something else. It's like, how can you be that talented? It's just to drop this golden cow and just to do something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's why I think he's a genius.
Well, that was our reaction to the Ricky Gervais show, the best bits. If there's any other sort of reactions you want us to do, please let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, we'll give it a go, definitely, because we read every single comment.
Yeah, we don't get that many, so we kind of have to.
They're on my phone, so it's hard to not read them.
Alright, peace out.
Cheers.
There you go.